In the world of AI video, things are moving incredibly fast. New tools pop up all the time, changing how we think about creating. Today, we're going to take a calm, practical look at one of the big new players, Luma AI's Dream Machine. We'll break down what it is, who it's for, and most importantly, how to think about using it.
So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll get a feel for the whole AI video landscape. Then, we'll look at the specific problem a tool like this is meant to solve. We'll cover who's using it and what they're making, then get into the right mindset for using it. And of course, we have to talk about the limitations before we wrap up with the big question, should you give it a try? All right, first things first, let's get our bearings. Today's tool comes from the category of AI video generation. The whole point of these tools is to turn your ideas, whether they're just text or maybe an image, into actual moving content. They're designed to either speed up how we already make videos or, in some cases, replace parts of that process entirely. So the core idea here is to really shrink the distance between what's in your head and a finished video clip. You can just type out a description or upload a photo, and the AI model does the work of generating motion. It's a real shift away from needing complex software and production pipelines to something much more direct. So why do we even need tools like this? What's the problem they're actually solving? Well, to get that, we need to think about what it takes to make a video the old-fashioned way. At its core, AI video is all about cutting down on what you might call creative friction, all the stuff that gets in the way of your idea becoming a reality.
And this slide really lays out the before and after picture pretty well. On one side, you have that traditional path, which, as you know, can be long and complicated. And on the other, you have a much more direct route from your concept to the final output.
You know how it used to be, right? Creating even a short, high-quality video meant you needed cameras, lights, editing software, a ton of time, and very often a whole team of people. All that friction made video creation slow, pretty expensive, and for a lot of folks, just completely out of reach. These tools are here to lower that barrier.
And that brings us to the specific tool we're looking at today, Luma AI's Dream Machine. It's one of the newer models out there, and it's been getting a lot of attention for the quality of its motion and its overall output. So, in a single sentence, Dream Machine is built to animate your ideas while doing its best to hold on to details. What makes it stand out is its pretty fluid motion and what a lot of creators are calling consistency, which is just the AI's ability to make a character or an object look the same from one frame to the next. So who is this really for? Well, it seems especially useful for people like content creators, marketers, and artists, anyone who needs to visualize ideas or create short content quickly. Now, if you're running a full-scale video production studio, this probably won't replace your main workflow, but it could still be a really useful tool for brainstorming and ideation. Okay, let's talk about a practical example. Imagine you need to explain a complex idea for a website. Instead of just a wall of text, you could use this to generate a few short, animated visuals. It just makes the whole topic more engaging and a little easier for people to grasp. Here's another powerful way to use it. You can actually transform video you already have. You could take a simple clip you shot on your phone and use the Modify feature to give it a totally new artistic style. You guide it with a text prompt, and it can turn your original video into something completely different. This one is huge for anyone working with a budget. You can quickly prototype a visual concept, maybe for a short film or an ad, without spending the money on a full shoot. It's a really low-risk way to see if an idea actually works before you commit serious time and resources to it. And finally, it's also quite effective for creating those smooth, looping animations. This is perfect for things like website backgrounds or digital displays, where you want some subtle, continuous motion that doesn't steal all the attention. But, and this is really important, you can't just treat this like a magic button. To use it well, you need to adopt a certain mindset. It's less about just clicking and more about collaborating with the tool. This quote really nails it. You have to work with the AI's imagination. Instead of asking it to create something super complex out of thin air, you can give it a little help. Use simple props as suggestions. A garden hose might become a snake. A power drill can turn into a futuristic weapon. You're guiding it. Now, when you're modifying a video, there's a key setting called strength. You can think of it as a knob that balances faithfulness against creativity. If you set it low, it'll stick really close to your original video. If you turn it up, you give the AI more freedom to reinterpret the scene, which can be more creative, but also, a lot less predictable. And here's a really practical tip from people who've been using this a lot. The AI can sometimes struggle with really fast motion. So if you film your original video in slow motion, it gives the model more frames to analyze. That can lead to a cleaner, more detailed result in the final video.
Okay, it's time for the reality check, because every tool has its limits. AI video still needs a human in the loop, and it's really key to manage your expectations so you don't get frustrated. As this chart shows, the tool's performance can be pretty different depending on the style you ask for. It does an amazing job with things like Pixar-style animation and realistic people. The consistency there is really impressive. But it has a much harder time with other styles, like anime, where it sometimes tries to hide animation issues with a lot of camera movement.
So some common challenges you'll see are things like warping or milting when there's a lot of motion. You'll also see some weird anatomical stuff like distorted hands. And compared to some other tools, you don't have a lot of precise control over the camera. You can't always tell it exactly where to pan or zoom.
This example right here perfectly highlights the gap between what you ask for and what the AI gives you. Even with a really clear instruction, complex actions can be tough for the model. Here it understood the handle, but the blade just wasn't there. It shows that the AI doesn't truly understand the physics of how objects work in the real world.
So after all of that, what's the big takeaway? Where does a tool like this actually fit into a creator's process right now? Here's the bottom line. Luma AI is a really capable tool, no question. It's a big step forward, especially for certain animation styles and for turning a single image into a video. But it's a tool that rewards experimentation. You get the best results when you're willing to adapt your approach and really learn what it's good at and what it's not.
So if this way of creating video sounds at all interesting to you, really the best way to understand it is to just try it yourself. Start small, test out a few simple ideas, and just see how it might fit into your own workflow. The real learning happens when you start exploring. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.